Colin, I want to tell you exactly where I'm going to put this money that you've donated to me so generously. I have a problem. I actually have a substance abuse problem I'm going to share with you guys, and this is really tough for me to do publicly in front of so many people, but I am straight up addicted to scented hand sanitizers. They smell so good. Vanilla brown sugar in particular. And I've been going through these things like fucking crack, and I need to go buy a bunch of new ones. I've already plotted it out in my head. I'm gonna spend 20 bucks on a taxi to go to the only mall that fucking sells these things anywhere near me. I'm gonna go buy like 15 or 20 so I don't have to go back again for a while. And then I'm gonna spend another 20 bucks coming home. I've already thought about it where every single dollar is going. But straight up, brown vanilla sugar is it smells so good. But at the same time, thank you guys. It's truly difficult to be that vulnerable in a public setting about a problem. So thank you guys. It's just a cover up for actual crack. Okay, first off, Cullen, thank you for everything. For those who don't know, just to update from the previous, by the way, shout out to this fucking community. We did this in like less than a period of a series, right? Cullen also just added $100 to the Matcherino page, bumping up the prize pool now to be $375. Now I'm gonna have to go do math and figure out exactly how we're gonna split that up amongst the players. But like, we'll probably double last place from $5 to $10, add in 50 and like second or first or something. But all the players are gonna get a bigger paycheck today, because of course we are paying every player in the tournament. So thank you, Colin, for that. We do hop into a brand new match here. It's the semifinals if you're just tuning in, and to the upper left side of the map we have the red Protoss,
Zest.
and Zest rhymes with best, and for good reason, because he's got pretty good odds going up against this guy. To the bottom right, the blue Protoss,
Patience.
I actually think Patience's PvP is one of his better matchups, just to be clear, and to size these guys up for everybody at a quick glance. Oh god, they're both doing proxies. I think Zest is the better player, hands down. Zest best, memes aside. He is one of my favorite Protoss players in all of Starcraft 2, and I think that he is one of the best players in the world. Even when he doesn't have consistent days, nobody's perfect, but I think on average Zest can beat pretty much everybody except Cyril. Cyril's a god. But anyways, it's Proxy Robo versus not actually Proxy, which is interesting. Proxy Robo unscouted is one of the most difficult things I think for Protoss players to hold. The Immortal is just way too powerful. But Patience, rather than sit around and set up a Stargate, does go for a full scout. And Patience is gonna see no pylon in the base. Well, this one's on the way, but the point is there should already be a second pylon down. So it is one of those classic moments of StarCraft 2 where the lack of information is a lot of information, and not seeing that sends him around the map. Look at the path. He's scouting everywhere. He wants to see where this is. He's going to happen to land near the Robo, but can he do anything about this? One of the things Zest did that I love about this move is he put the pylon on the high ground. So for the stalkers to get here, they actually have to go all the way around and up just to get to the pylon to shoot it. I think Patience, by the way, if I had to take a real guess, I don't think this was actually going to be a pylon for a proxy. The fact that the probe pulled away immediately, maybe to me says mind games. Like, make Zest think that this was going to be a proxy when it wasn't really going to be a proxy. And if that is the case, then yo, Patience gets like plus 10 cool points, because I love mind games. But sometimes actual proxies are just better, and this Immortal absolutely busts through. Now, unfortunately, he loses the Immortal, and I think he could have saved that, to be honest, but he just 1v4'd essentially. That's not true. It was like Stalkers assisting, but it sounds cooler if I say it like that, because he lost 1 for 4, okay? 1 Immortal, 4 Stalkers, leaving Patience with a pretty ragtag defense. He's now forced to build shield batteries and sentries and hopes to hold this ramp, but Zest's follow-up was not a second Immortal, it was a Warp Prism. So he has high ground vision to actually see what's up here, but more importantly, he now has the ability to escape and micro more than Patience does. So Zest could turn this into a soft contain. Zest does not have to break up the ramp to win the game here, as you normally do in this scenario. What Zest could instead do is force field the ramp and take an expansion at home. And if he does this, he's going to get really far ahead of Patience. Now, that's more like a plan B. I don't think that's his main plan, but it's just saying that Zest has so much control right now, and Zest has options. Patience does not. Patience only option right now is don't give away too much and lose the game. And I think Zest is just, I think he's just going to overwhelm, frankly. Put up a Guardian Shield. You don't even need to pick up the Sentry to save it. Okay, that works too. Mortal blasting away. Now, for Zest, prior to an engagement, killing a pylon to reduce supply and block Patience's supply, or just kill a shield battery straight up, either way are two big ways to get ahead. Miss Gear has followed the channel. Oh my, are you still watching? Hey girl. This is going to be tough though, even for Zest, like, who is, in my opinion, super far ahead with these moves. It's not going to be easy to get in here to break. So looking to maybe draw Patience out of position. He drops two Immortals. That Arcosa's pylon in the back. Patience immediately reacts by shield battery healing it. For those who don't know, a shield battery will not naturally auto heal this the same way it will like other shields. You have to actually target fire that. So Patience had a really quick reaction and a good decision to do so, because if that pylon died, he loses all of his production and like no chance to survive. Make your time. All your bases are belonging to us. But as I said, while all of this goes on, Zest doesn't have to break in to kill Patience, because he does the only thing he needed to do in this game, and it's take an expansion back on the other side of the map. Now, this Immortal game of cat and mouse is so funny. The pylon actually lives. Are you kidding me? Like, actually unreal. The pylon lives, so the warp, the robo's gonna be, the warpins are still there. There's a warp prism still. There's just a lot to discuss, and there's a lot to unpack. But this real Phoenix is gonna guarantee this warp prism dies, and Patience won't get into the main. And if he's not careful, he'll lose both the Immortals. No, he's still gonna lose them anyway. GG. Now, when I gush about casting Zest, you gotta watch a game like that to fully understand why Zest is best. If we're on Team Zest, I want to see you write Zest is best in the chat. Because Team Zest, man, it's the most powerful team in the world. I swear, not even the ego of M. Canning could measure up to the actual skill of Zest. It's unreal. Camix SC2 also donated $5 to the prize pool for the players. Thank you for that. It says no comments attached. Great. Okay, map number 2 coming up in a moment. Quick reminder that I know very frequently we do best of 5s for the semifinals, so I really want to emphasize that this is only a best of 3. Normally we like to stretch these out a bit more, but that's because we only pick one match from the round of 8. Because we cast everything, it would just take way too long if everything was like best of 5s. So again, 2 best of 3s for the semifinals, just to be clear. I don't want anyone to be confused about that. Nani? Yo, Therm, so did you guys get like turned up on FastV's Discord the other night? I seen some clips from like Nick's and Tucker's stream that were just straight up hilarious. Is that Zombie Grub on the right? Over there? No. First off, no disrespect for Zombie Grub. She's a strong, independent, beautiful woman, but she is not even close to looking as hot as Evil Factory Chan does, okay? Have some respect for the Evil Factory Chan. No, but for those who don't know, those little characters I have rotating over there, that's just for fun stuff. They're kind of like our unofficial channel mascot. This whole Factory Chan meme, for whatever reason, has grown to the point where we have fan art of it now. People who are not me are commissioning art pieces like these 3 here. That's apparently, and I'm gonna cringe so hard saying this, that's Barracks Kun, Factory Chan, and Starport Senpai, I think, or Starport Sama, or some weeb bullshit that I don't. Regardless, I love it, and they look fantastic, and they're original, so that's cool. Anyways, let's hop into Ephemeron. Before we do, though, I will just say on the record that while Evil Factory Chan is kind of sexy, I kind of got a thing for like the Starport thing that wrap it up. Okay, it is game number 2 in the semifinals. Rifkin's pretending not to be a weeb. Yeah, but let's be honest, I'm a weeb at heart. Anyways, game number pause. Hopefully no control issues. For those who don't know, Maddox is adminning / refereeing. He's also been a translator in the past for when players are typing stuff. So I don't know what's going on. Hopefully this question mark. Wrong map maybe. Okay.
I like you a lot.
Okay. This is a really funny question, so I'm not going to ignore the obvious troll that it is. Just on the record. Oodles, thank you for the 10 months. Pandolf XD says, hey, I'm racist when I'm high. What to do? Thanks for the... So first off, it sounds to me more like you're probably just racist, period, but you're only self-aware while you're high. My advice, don't be a f***ing racist. Easy peasy. Zest doubted that was a kind of mode that APM was shown. Players can see APM. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. Well, hopefully I'm looking at this right now. Whoop. This was the correct mod. This wasn't some like random wrong game mod. There must have just been a glitch in the game or something. So regardless, I guess we're just remaking. So the lobby is literally going up as we speak. You can see that down below. By the way, quick question, guys, because I redid all this overlay stuff like a week and a half ago, right? I thought it'd be kind of helpful to have that there just so you guys know that we're working on games and you can see that like stuff's moving and that I'm not just sitting here talking about nothing for no reason. Is that helpful at all? Like I'm not asking for like, oh yeah, Rifkin, I love it, bravo, please have my praise. But I'm actually just genuinely curious. Now that we've had this up for a couple weeks, have you guys found that little window helpful at all? Because the other thing I was planning to like double down on it with is if I have a co-caster, I would just put their camera there instead of the game screen. You guys like it? Okay, cool. Some people say they didn't even notice it. That's fine too. As you know what, it's better too if you don't notice it, because the last thing I want it to be is like super invasive. I'm actually so happy. Like, I'm just gonna gloat for a second. I did all this myself, right? I didn't shop this out and hire somebody. All the graphics, all the overlay stuff, I think looks so bloody clean right now. I think the sponsor representation looks good. Like, I am so happy with this overlay. So I'm very glad that you guys are okay with it too, because I don't want to change a thing. Anyways, regardless of whatever the case of the remake mystery was, I'm guessing it's been resolved. So we hop now into game 2 for real. It's on Ephemeron, and in this best of 3, he leads 1-0. Ladies and gentlemen, to the top left side of the map, it is
Zest.
I want to see what maximum settings are to introduce patience. Like, I am going full on everything, and let's see what this sounds like. So, to the bottom right, in what should be the deepest voice I could modulate, we have the blue Protoss.
Patience. Oh God.
That's too much. That's way too much. That's like, it sounds like I'm choking on my words too deep. I don't even know what Starcraft is. I'm just here for you. Well, thank you, Luna B. I appreciate that. I've never heard of Starcraft either, but someone told me it was a great money-making machine. And as you can see clearly, I've made 250 some odd dollars tonight. So, you know, couldn't care less about this dead game of a community. I'm just all about the Benjamins. I don't even have Benjamins. I'm Canadian. I don't even know what's on our $100 bills. I just know that they're brown. That's the literally that's the only thing I know about the $100 Canadian bill. It's brown.
I like you a lot.
Like, if you dropped a handful of hundreds into a cardboard box, you might never find them again. Gaming Brewer, thank you for the 14 months. I'm just here to watch WoW. I can't wait for this to finish. I started playing with Neuro, by the way. Speaking of WoW, I sadly didn't get to raid with him this week or anything, but I've almost got my character to level 60 on Neuro's server. So I hope I can play with Neuro a bit more because Neuro's fun. Oh, okay. Kind of interesting move there out of Zest. So Zest did the same pylon, I think, mind game attempt that Patience did. And there's a lot to explain through this, but I think this makes about 1,000,000,000% more sense than Patience's. Because Patience was, he tried to do it for a cool reason, just to like unsettle Zest. But Zest actually just won the game off the back end of a proxy robo, and he fakes it again. And Patience kind of scouts seeing this, and he doesn't see the nexus. So he doesn't realize that this is all for a fake out, and is investing quite a bit of energy and attention searching around the map for this proxy that doesn't really exist. I think he's kind of understood though, like we're hitting that timing where there should be an attack coming soon, and the fact that there isn't will let him know this wasn't really a proxy. That's why there's probes still on patrol, by the way, waiting to block out the ramp. So between Zest's fake pylon, the real pylon, the psych out moves here have been unreal and really cool to see. But ultimately, this does look like just a normal PvP where Zest has basically gotten, I guess, no real advantage out of the effort put to mind game. But if Patience had overreacted, that would have been really cool. Well, for Zest. Hawk Empire, by the way, thank you for the 15 months. Did I shout that out just now? I'm actually having a moment of senility here. Yeah, this Phoenix is going to be pushed out, I think, fairly easily. These two depths are a little scary, but this is another reason I have the probe here. Just kind of blocking them out. Unfortunately, Patience doesn't have the same probe still there, but Zest is not going to commit to the transfer upon seeing orphans, so good read on his part. Perfect bow. What is this cute little Sky emote in my chat? I think Sky's streaming right now, isn't she? I don't know what you're doing, wasting your time here, but hello. Hi. Nice to see friendly faces. Forge for upgrades coming for Zest next. Look, I'm gonna be honest, guys. This is not an exciting PvP. It had some really interesting early game start stuff with the pylons and the mind games, but outside of that, this is just turning into a macro. So the directions this game is gonna head, as I lose my ability to speak here. Once I need water. I'm getting tongue-tied and dry mouth. So going forward for both Zest and Patience, there's not really a lot of opportunity to get weird. We're kind of gonna have this boil down to usually, you know, either Blink Stalkers and Disruptors or Zealots and Archons. And there's not really a lot of options to do much else. It is kind of good and kind of bad because on one hand, you know, with Terran, there's usually quite a few things they could do, and Zerg especially, you have to guess at what tech they're swapping to. But in PvP, it's pretty linear. There's not really a lot of guessing work required to play this. Yeah, she's in stream. I should mob. I'm saying hi. Well, tell her I said hi as well. The sentries and the force fields are hilarious. This is such a joke of an engagement, but Zest should be okay. 2 adepts in the main base are going to kill quite a few probes, actually. They will be dealt with, but not before 5 at least go down. In regards to me calling that a bit of a joke, it's because there doesn't seem to be a way for Patience to really push it and do much more. I mean, the adepts are really good damage. That was super unexpected, and that levels it out, so Zest now has the same workers as Patience. But they're both coming up on +1, and because they're both investing in tech behind this, neither player has the all-in force to break the other. Zest cannot break Patience's attack, nor can Patience do much to Zest with his attack. So, kind of a moot point, a little risky with the Warp Prism. Not sure what the plan was for that, but either way, both of them come out of this with similar work count. I guess Zest is up a little bit in supply right now, but in PvP, that's not that big of a deal because of the way warp-in waves work. Zerg, when you're watching Zerg play, you'll oftentimes hear commentators talk about Defender's Advantage, and it's a pretty important factor for that matchup. For Protoss, you don't normally have the Defender's Advantage because your opponent just brings a Warp Prism across the map, and then they can warp in directly as well. But when you're up supply like this, and there's not really an overwhelming army, there's actually Defender's Advantage back into the equation. Unless Zest, unless Patience, who was behind his supply for a little bit there, had like 5 extra gateways to work off of or something, there's no difference in warpins. Just location, but this warp prism continues to be adamant in its attempt to do damage. It's worth noting that 2 immortals mess stuff up. If they can take down probes very quickly, they can remove a pylon from play and unpower all your production very quickly. The warp prism and these immortals are a very real threat that Zest cannot ignore, and that's a big part of why you see him chasing this around and unfortunately maybe even tunnel visioning a bit too much onto it. But it's not like this has stopped him from taking a third. In fact, if you look at the production tabs, you can see both Patience and Zest have their thirds finishing up almost within seconds of one another. So in regards to that, this game is pretty on point. Both players pacing out almost exactly the same right now. I'm still waiting to see who deviates and what the big plan is. Because if at some point, let's say Zest wants to oh my god, that's a nice snipe there. Let's say Zest wants to invest in disruptors. Well, Patience may scout that and play around it and go for Phoenix to counter it. Or maybe it's just sell it Archon for both. By the way, that pylon snipe from Patience in the main was big for 2 reasons. One, it unpowers 4 gateways. That's a huge delay in production. For an attack that's coming, that's a great response after Zest realizes he gets this edge. Secondly, with the second pylon picked off, that was a super hard supply block at like 109 or whatever that was. So Patience is just in a pretty terrible spot now to defend. This third base, Zest doesn't need to commit to this. He already knows that if he wins this fight, he wins the game. So pushing past the third, saying screw it, you know, there's some damage on the other side of the map. I think he's just hoping to win with what he's got. And I think what he's got is going to be enough. Those zealots are outnumbering 2-1, 16-5. GG. Zest takes the series 2-0.